quick apology about the last two videos, which I'm recording at the same time as this one. I'm in a lot of pain, so I was talking a bit quickly, so sorry about that. I want to follow up with, or rather on the last one where we talked about addressing root causes and not like the cause of the security issues or the symptoms, and not treat the symptoms themselves as the issue, and to not miss the opportunity to trace those things back. So I think what's important to consider, and there's tremendous value for the business here, is that security issues, like we said, are quality issues. They're defect in code, in build, in configuration, in lifecycle management, in not thinking, what's going to be needed to maintain these systems, even, bad user interface, architecture, context. Those can all lead to problems. And they compound as well. You can have a perfectly built system, but if it's running on a virtual machine on an end-of-life operating system that can't be patched, then everything you've built, no matter how good it is, can be exploited from the bottom up. That said, so every security issue is a quality issue, but not every quality issue is a security issue. So you can have, and I might have said this before in the previous video, you could have code that is not running very well, it's buggy, it's slow, it's unstable, it crashes. That's a poor user experience, it's poor performance, it could lead to unhappy customers and renewals, or a lack of success of your application, website, SaaS service, whatever it might be. But they're not fundamentally a security problem. There's no exposure there. However, they do share the same root cause. They're both related to, say, bad code, for example. They can be related to the same cause, or in this example, it's bad code. What's interesting is that if you have an application that works, I'm just going to use the example of code for now, people often have no idea how much resource that application should actually consume, for example. And they just assume that whatever the AWS or Google or Azure bill is, that's what it costs to run it. And it's often only by looking at the security issues that you realize, no, actually our coding practices are quite bad, and we have bad architecture, and stuff isn't scaling properly, and we're consuming a lot of resource, and we're not using an optimal coding platform, and we have a lot of bouncing about because this hasn't been architected very well, which introduces a lot of latency and load to running a function or an application. You don't see that from the outside, and very often the first hint that you have bad code is, I'm seeing a lot of security issues, or bad engineering practices, bad development practices. And so finding those issues is of tremendous benefit to the business. And the way I kind of operate Sequoia is I don't calculate risk. Like, I see this is a big issue now. More and more executives are asking their CISOs to justify, to show ROI on the security spending. And it's very, very difficult to quantify risk and how much you're spending has actually reduced that risk. Also because there's so many dependencies. Like, you can do everything right. Oh, we've built all this right. But again, it's on a hypervisor or something, it only takes one wrong account or one misconfiguration or one something, one supply chain thing, and everything's out the window. So how can you actually operate on that? Well, I like to turn security into a quality function, and our core value to the business is not risk reduction at all. Is that we are improving the quality of our business processes, of our IT processes, and that means streamlining them. That means reducing costs. That means, hey, I've got better IAM, so I lower my auditing costs. I have higher rates of compliance. I can get a bit more business because I can showcase my compliance. My employees have everything they need faster, so they're more productive. I get a few, 3 extra days of productivity out of every new employee. That multiplies in high turnover roles. These are the values that I bring to the business. And these are fixed expenses that are happening today, which I am reducing. This is eminently calculable. And you can literally go to your CFO and say, I'm going to make an impact on your EBITDA report this year by lowering these operating costs. By fixing those underlying issues, streamlining identity, streamlining development, streamlining provisioning of systems, streamlining software development, engineering efforts, I am helping the business in many, many, many ways, which is saving money, which is giving us more agility, which is creating business opportunities, and it's reducing risk. But I don't calculate how much risk I'm reducing because it doesn't actually matter at this point, because we know that we're reducing significantly more. And you see that by certain KPIs, like the number of vulnerabilities that you are seeing. And you should see it also in the number of access requests. So, hey, users aren't provisioned properly. There's loads of places where you could see these things tangibly, but it doesn't actually matter because I've spent money optimizing business and IT processes, which have saved the business more money. So without even approaching or touching the topic of risk, I have provided value to the organization. I'm already more than paying for myself and producing value. The fact that I'm reducing risk in the process and actually reducing it quite effectively compared to the usual firefighting risk management, the ROI is infinite. Because not only am I reducing more risk, but I've spent zero money on it. All my time and resource has been spent optimizing the business. The reduction in risk is a side effect. So my ROI on risk reduction is infinite. And this is a much better place to come from when trying to approach this, or rather approach management or a CFO to get resource. Because if you are optimizing business, it's like a slot machine. Every time I put £5, euros, dollars into it, I get 7 or 8 back. Now, eventually I'll get 10 back. Eventually I'll get 9, 8. As long as I get more than the 5 that I put in, why would a CFO say no? So we really need to change. And a lot of people get upset about this as well, I want to say. This was meant to be a short video. It's actually going to be the longest one so far. A lot of people get upset about having to do stuff for the business and they don't like having to justify this stuff. But we should be justifying our expenses. So I want to frame that like, I think this is the start of the concept of how important it is to have a business mindset. If this was your organization, would you really want to be spending millions every year on firefighting? Or would you rather things run properly? Would you rather focus on a really high quality of IT and business processes, which has the side effect of you needing less security? That's what you would want. Unfortunately, in security, a lot of people get insecure about that because, well, it means we get less work. It means we have fewer toys. And back to the previous argument, you probably still need most of the toys. You'll need a bit fewer, because certain areas of risk won't exist because you're doing stuff with high quality. But you'll be using them to strategically find the underlying issues, not to fight a million symptoms. So typically, you'll need fewer licenses. You'll need less headcount to man those things. That's just giving me an idea for the next video as well. I hope that was helpful. And like and subscribe, all that usual crap. And I'll see you for the next one. Thank you.